In this lesson we're going to look at animating our sprites. We'll first of all start off with the apple. It's a very similar process for other objects as well. Okay, we will just for now hide with the visibility icon here the static image we got for now. We're going to create an animated sprite 2D. So right click the apple, add child node, and if we search for animated sprite 2D, it's just there, and you'll see there's a warning message here. Now when we create an animated sprite 2D, we need to create an animation sprite frames. So in the inspector, open the animation rollout, click on the empty in sprite frames and select new sprite frames from there. Now you need to click onto sprite frames there, and you'll notice the bottom of the screen here change to an animation type window. So click on sprite frames. Now we've got a different window at the bottom of our interface. This is where we actually create the animations. This is more for the control, but we'll learn more about these as we go along. We are going to create first of all a simple animation. So I'm going to rename this to, so single click on that, I'm just going to call it Apple Anim. Okay, and then we click onto that. Now with the Apple Anim selected, now this will be exactly the same routine for walk and idle and run for the player later. But inside the assets, I've created a folder called Apple Anims, and there are 3 images. So left click the top image, shift left click the bottom image, select them, all 3 of them, and drag them inside the animation frames window. Okay. Now you'll notice again they're a bit too big, and if we click on the animation sprite 2D, go to transform, and I think if you remember we used 0.25 last time. Okay, that brings that into there. Now you'll notice if I click onto the play icon here now, you'll notice the actual animation moving from that one to that frame, and then round and round and round. Okay, you can change the speed by going to here, and this part here use animation looping, because we're going to loop this animation over and over again in our game. We would keep that on, but sometimes you only want the animation to play at certain times, but don't worry too much about that for now. That'll come later. Okay, so we've now got the apple animating away quite happily. Okay, if you want to press stop, you can press on pause, but you'll also notice in the sequence here we got speed scale. If you want to add speed to this, because sometimes the animations aren't quite right, so if I click on play then and I say 5, you'll notice that the apple spins around quite quickly. So the same thing, it'll slow it down. So if I go to 0.5, it'll slow it down even more. It depends on the animation, it depends on what choice you want from there. So generally we'll have it on a suitable level, bit on yourself really, sort of from there. So that's how to actually animate a particular character. Now if I click on to save now we're going to try the same thing with the bee. Exactly the same routine. So I'm going to close that scene for now, I'm going to open the B scene. So move down to the scenes folder, double click the B scene, and again you'll notice inside the assets folder I've got a B animations folder, exactly the same. This time it's got 4 animations to it, so it's exactly the same routine. I'm going to hide the static sprite. I'm going to right click, add child node, and because we've used the animated sprite before in the recent section, double click on that. I'm going to then go the same thing in the animation rollout. Empty, new sprite frames, click on sprite frames, and I'm going to call this B anim. I'm then going to select the B animations, drag them into the animation frames window. I can test that, and I can see again the B is a little bit too big. So with the animated sprite selected, transform, scale, in this case 0.25, but it can depend on what size your graphics are and things like that. So if I zoom into this, press play, you'll notice the B animating away. Okay, so exactly the same type of thing. You can adjust the speed and this type of thing. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to save this scene, and the next thing we're going to do in the next video is create a player animation which has got slight more complexity to it. I'll show you that as we come to the next video. I'll see you next time.